Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about the state of Modern Warfare right now. So Activision has sent out a new survey asking some community members what would bring them back to play Modern Warfare. So that's obviously not a good sign, and we'll go more into this, how common this is. I mean, Activision normally does these types of surveys, but it's a weird question, and we're going to go through a bunch of the survey questions and what the options are, because it seems like Activision and Infinity Ward must have some data that a sizable amount of people have stopped playing the game, and they probably know what the reasons are, but they want to give these people an option, a chance to sort of, give their reasons as to why they may have quit Modern Warfare and stopped playing the game. I feel like most of us who are avid Call of Duty players are still playing the game, but let me know down below if you stopped playing the game and the reasons why and what they could do and change to bring you back to Modern Warfare. Let's go through what someone's saying here. Is this a sign that a significant number of players have stopped playing since the game's launch? And Charlie Intel says, no, more so these are targeted surveys to those who have stopped playing the game. So again, I don't want to say for sure that Modern Warfare completely failed. I don't want to say for sure that, a majority of players have stopped playing the game, but I do see why Activision is bringing this survey and having this specific question, because there definitely probably has been a decent amount of people that have seen these issues with the game and decided to stop playing, and Activision wants to know, will changing these issues that players want bring these players back to the game, even if it goes against what Infinity Ward wanted to make the game? So obviously an example of this is the minimap. If so many players that quit Modern Warfare really want the old minimap back, and if that's returned to the game, then they'll come back and play Modern Warfare, maybe they'll consider adding it back to the game, even though it's against what Infinity Ward originally planned for the game. If so many players are not playing it because of that issue, then, that would be a reason to bring it back. And that's just an example. I'm not saying that for sure. But again, here's some other stuff. And I don't want to say this game is dead as well. Someone's saying, dang, the game is already dead. And someone responds, not dead, just disliked because of skill-based matchmaking and camping. So here's the thing as well. Modern Warfare definitely has the potential, and I've seen it and I've said it before, and so many people are saying it, to be such a good Call of Duty. There are just a couple of different issues, obviously skill-based matchmaking being one, that are really plaguing the game and plaguing people's enjoyment of this game. And obviously the game still has so many players, probably a lot more than Black Ops 4. Regardless of if you like Black Ops 4 more than Modern Warfare, it's just an objective fact that Modern Warfare has so many players playing the game. It's just, I feel like with a bunch of the core fans, they're really, taking an issue with skill-based matchmaking, especially because it just, even for me as well, it's overall less enjoyable to play a game. Even if Modern Warfare is a good game, when skill-based matchmaking is in full effect, it's just not as fun. So that's one thing there. But let's go through the survey and what Activision is looking for. Now, again, this survey did have a bunch of different questions. So every year, every couple of months, Activision and Call of Duty, Infinity Ward, whatever company, they're always giving out surveys as to, your status on the game, how you feel about the game at this certain time, what you feel about the different map packs and features, and they're always doing this stuff. But there was one question that people were really looking at, people were really intrigued about, and it was this question: what, if anything, would convince you to start playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare again? And here are a bunch of the things. So we have new in-game events and challenges, new multiplayer modes, new multiplayer maps, if there was a difficulty setting option in Spec Ops Operations, if my technical problems were resolved, if Spec Ops technical issues were resolved, if multiplayer challenge progression issues were resolved, if spawn logic issues in multiplayer maps were resolved, if cross-platform balance issues were resolved, if weapon balance issues were resolved, if my friends started playing again, if progression issues were resolved, new Spec Ops experiences, missions, maps, if match balance issues were resolved, if multiplayer allowed me to vote on the maps you want to actually play. And some of these questions aren't completely fair. I mean, the one about if my friends started playing again, it's not really up to Activision and Infinity Ward. It's just that if they add the features back, they could get your friends to start playing again, but there's nothing they could directly do about that. And then a bunch of the issues with spawning and issues with challenge progression, those are all stuff that they fix in patch notes. Some of the things with Spec Ops is a bit interesting. I think they realized that Spec Ops was a letdown this year, and Spec Ops doesn't seem to be fully complete, especially from the leaks that we looked at. Spec Ops was a lot bigger of a game mode with a lot more content, a lot more missions than what we actually have at launch and in the game right now. So maybe they're looking at that. If they beef up Spec Ops, they'll bring players back. But I'm surprised there aren't a bunch of options with actual, overhaul changes. And like I said again, and I know that Infinity Ward is on Twitter. They're all over Twitter. They're all over Reddit. They know what the problems are. And I think Activision probably knows as well. Skill-based matchmaking is what everyone's been talking about. And obviously there was a thing, I didn't do a video about it. I'll probably do a video about it tomorrow about the skill-based matchmaking patent that's been floating around. We'll talk about that. But again, they know the main issues. The overhaul that people were expecting or at least wanting within the game and still want, even if it was a fake leak or if it wasn't completely accurate or if they decide to scrap the overhaul. If you look at all of the replies to Infinity Ward, if you look at the replies to this Charlie Intel tweet, I'll put an extra one up on screen if I can find one. I mean, I probably can. They're all there. People want the overhaul within the game. Not everyone, but I think for majority of players, they want this type of stuff. And within the survey questions as well, they do talk about bringing new multiplayer maps to the game, but I think they need to directly attack the issues that people are talking about, like the actual map design, the open corridors, the increased amount of campers within the game, the minimap issue, maybe spawn things. Again, I've always talked about they're going to fix anyway, so I don't think that's too much of an issue. But stuff like that, stuff that was listed as sort of the main points of the overhaul or the hypothetical overhaul that was, supposed to come. I mean, this is some stuff that even though Infinity Ward made this game the way they made it, they have a certain way or a certain vision that they want Modern Warfare to fulfill. Unfortunately, at least for a decent amount of players, it's just not what we want. And I think if they put out a survey and they put those options on the survey, I'm pretty sure definitely a majority of players would pick the options to bring the minimap back to its normal form, decrease the amount of windows in a given map or a given corridor, which would, decrease the camping, sniping points and different stuff like that, and all different little issues that people are complaining about. I mean, like I said again, Modern Warfare has potential to be such a fun and enjoyable game, but these things are really holding it back, and obviously skill-based matchmaking as well. If people had to vote on skill-based matchmaking, don't even tell me 80% of the people would vote against it. There's no way you're voting for skill-based matchmaking unless you just really are a casual player and you don't like, and even casual players don't like that type of stuff. I think most people understand it's a game. Some games, and this is without skill-based matchmaking. Some lobbies, you get good lobbies. Some lobbies, you get bad lobbies. That's how it was back in the day in Call of Duty, and it balanced out. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. Now, again, I don't think Modern Warfare completely failed, but I do think something's wrong here, and I think they're understanding, or at least Activision is seeing that something is wrong, and they sort of want to try to work to fix it. So let's see what happens. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys later.